expensive stadiums ever built in East Africa, costing a massive $345 million. Just look at the sheer size of it. Solar-powered lamps over these outside pitches, LED screens inside, and this innovative hybrid turf technology on the main playing pitch. The same tech found in European stadiums like the Santiago Bernabeu. This is Talanta Sports City Stadium with its iconic motif of the Maasai shield, the new landmark of Kenya.
We are investing heavily in sports infrastructure. From the successful hosting of CHAN, which showcased our readiness to stage major continental events, to the construction and renovation of the world-class stadiums. We are building facilities.
The crazy part, Kenya is actually building 25 other stadiums in parallel.
And we have agreed to build another 25 stadia.
In an unprecedented effort to host AFCON in East Africa for the first time in over 50 years, Kenya has built a new stadium from scratch, Talanta, and renovated two more, Nyayo and Kasarani. Right now, we're going to get inside Talanta to show you exactly how it looks and how Kenya managed to pull off something this big. We'll also uncover the huge controversy surrounding the funding of Kenya's flagship venue, including an 11 billion Kenyan shilling cost rise.
Building the Talanta Sports City that has the Raila Odinga International Stadium went up by a whopping 10.6 billion shillings from an initial cost of 35.2 billion shilling.
And things get darker than most people thought. Why are these Chinese characters painted across the upper tier? Is this stadium really owned by Kenyans, or just another debt trap? Well, before we get to Kenya's beast Talanta, 15 kilometers away near the heart of Nairobi, there's something impressive happening worth showing here. This is Kenya's mother stadium of sporting modernity, Nyayo. It was originally built as an open-air arena, and now CAF mandates it be fully covered in order to host AFCON matches. So, Kenya is installing a massive canopy to cover the entire bowl, and the engineering required to pull this off is the reason most people doubted Kenya could deliver on time. Look at the original roof. That small VIP cover over the western stand is the only roof Nyayo has ever had since it opened in 1983. For 43 years, fans in the lower tiers sat exposed to the open sky. Back in 2018, footage went viral of water pouring directly onto spectators during a heavy downpour. For an AFCON match broadcast to hundreds of millions of viewers across the continent, that's not an option. So engineers are considering dismantling the original VIP canopy first, then installing a fully suspended lightweight tensile roof that wraps the entire perimeter, not just one stand. Look at the design renders here. The roof is supported by a ring of steel masts anchored outside the seating bowl, leaving the existing concrete structure untouched. This is the same engineering approach used at Stade de France. But the canopy is just the headline upgrade. Step inside. New floodlights have already been installed. 3,000 lux, the broadcast-grade minimum for nighttime CAF transmission. The new playing surface sits on advanced sub-pitch drainage that can shed a tropical downpour in under 15 minutes. Video assistant referee technology is now wired into the technical zone. A fully internet-enabled media tribune has been built to host 150 journalists simultaneously. The dressing rooms have air conditioning, personal player safes, and refrigeration units for post-match cold baths. Stadium security has been bolstered with 150 CCTV cameras spread across every entry point and concourse. And look at the gates. The floodlight towers are visible right there, freshly upgraded. But Nyayo's location is what makes the entire AFCON math work for Nairobi. The stadium sits along Uhuru Highway, which now borders the Nairobi Expressway directly on one side. On the other side, an old meter-gauge railway line runs through the property. Now, look outside. This empty strip of land next to Nyayo is being cleared for a brand new train station. Kenya is laying a meter-gauge rail spur that will move fans directly from Nyayo through Kibera and onward to Talanta, 15 kilometers across the city. Preparatory works and land clearing linked to the proposed rail connection are visible around the corridor. Run your eye to the right of the stadium and you can see the Nairobi Expressway elevated above the surrounding traffic. That 27-kilometer toll road, opened in 2022, already feeds AFCON-bound traffic from Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to Nyayo's gates in under 20 minutes. Ngong Road, the main artery linking Nyayo National Stadium to Talanta Sports Stadium in the western suburbs, now features a modern overpass commissioned by President Ruto in late June. This new overpass makes traveling between the two venues incredibly easy, while the nearby Likoni Road junction is currently being rebuilt. There's an interesting twist here. Nyayo is currently expected to serve primarily as a training and support venue rather than a main match stadium. CAF has designated it a training venue and an opening ceremony rehearsal site. But the infrastructure being installed around it, the rail link, the expressway feeders, the bypass, is what will move the entire tournament across Nairobi. Now, before we get inside Talanta, you need to understand the engineering puzzle that almost derailed the whole AFCON bid. It's not at Nyayo, it's 8 kilometers north, at a stadium most Kenyans grew up watching on television. This is the Moi International Sports Center. Everyone calls it Kasarani. Multiple tiers of concrete seating wrapped around a football pitch and an athletics track. Built between 1982 and 1987 by a Chinese contractor as a state gift. 48,000 seats. Home of every major Kenyan international match for nearly 40 years. Capacity is fine. The new canopy was installed before Chan 2024. But here's where things get interesting. CAF's Category 4 hospitality requirements include a specified number of executive skyboxes, and for Kasarani, that number is 61. Glass-fronted, climate-controlled hospitality suites placed in the upper tiers where sponsors, governing body officials, and broadcast rights buyers are entertained during finals. Kasarani's 1987 original design has 0 skyboxes. None. The upper concrete tiers were poured as a single uninterrupted slope of seating. To insert 61 suites into that structure, engine seating, retrofit horizontal by the existing concrete columns, install glass curtain walls, run climate-controlled ducting, and electrical loads through 40-year-old concrete that was never designed to carry that weight. Look at the wall here, between the second and third tier, that's the section under engineering review. Removing it would reduce capacity in those tiers, but allow the suites to be inserted above. Kenya has formally asked CAF to relax the skybox requirement for Kasarani specifically. CAF has not yet publicly responded. Look at the pitch as of mid-2026. The entire playing surface has been torn out, fresh topsoil, hybrid grass seeded in stages. Outside the main bowl, dedicated training pitches have been laid for visiting teams during the tournament. Each pitch matches the dimensions and grass type of the main playing surface, meaning teams arriving to play at Kasarani can warm up on identical conditions to the actual match pitch hours before kickoff. Total renovation cost, 6.7 billion Kenyan shillings, roughly $52 million across 2 phases. That's it. Before we walk into Talanta itself, and this is the part you actually came here for, we've got even bigger breakdowns coming on Tanzania's stadiums and Uganda's oil-funded Hoima City Stadium. You don't want to miss either one. Now, let's go to Talanta. Drive 12 kilometers west of Kasarani, past the Department of Defense headquarters, to Jamhuri grounds on the eastern edge of central Nairobi. A 45-hectare site that until early 2024 was open grass, Kenya's annual military parade ground. On March 1st, 2024, President William Ruto stood here and broke ground.
We are calling this the Talanta Sports City, and Your Excellency, because we intend to develop this place into more than just a stadium. Again, under the FIFA requirements, we have been very particular in terms of dimensions, the quality.
3 years later, this is what stands in its place. 60,000 seats, 56 meters tall at its highest point, parking for 3,000 vehicles, 8 monumental gates corresponding to the 8 diamond pattern shields built into the facade, each shield modeled directly on the traditional Maasai warrior's shield, finished with the spear-tip decorative crests of the Kenyan coat of arms. 1 shield per gate. Step back far enough and the whole building reads like a Maasai warrior's shield laid on its side. Let's now walk inside. The auditorium is split into 3 vertical tiers, fully canopied. The seats themselves come in the 3 colors of the Kenyan flag, black, red, and green, arranged in mosaic patterns across the bowl so that even when the stadium is empty, it reads as the national flag from any television camera angle. Look at the roof. That entire canopy is held up by a network of steel strongholds, lightweight tensile trusswork spanning the entire bowl without a single internal column. Stand on the catwalk above the upper tier and you can see the engineering complexity in full. Every meter of steel was calculated to carry wind load and the weight of the LED screens, sound array and floodlight banks suspended underneath. Inside the bowl, look up at the southern gable. Two of the large format LED screens among the more prominent stadium display systems in East Africa are already mounted, including a center-hung scoreboard visible from every seat. Matchday audio runs through a fully suspended line array sound system. Walk the upper concourse and you'll see the individual speaker arrays clustered every 20 meters along the catwalk. The main playing pitch is a hybrid turf system. Natural grass woven with roughly 20 million synthetic polyol. The same similar to those used at Real Madrid's Wembley Stadium in London. The fibers hold the natural root structure in place, meaning a pitch that can be played on twice a week without falling apart by the second match. Look at the surface today. The grass is still growing in. Above the playing area, 52 executive skyboxes ring the upper tier. At the time of construction, that number exceeds the hospitality suite count of any other completed venue on the AFCON 2027 list across all three host countries. The player tunnels are over here. Wide enough to accommodate full broadcast camera, follows during the player walkout, and look up from the center circle. The roof opens to an oculus at the apex of the canopy, letting natural light flood the pitch during day matches while the side panels keep the wind off. Step outside the bowl. The exterior is a sequence of paved walkways and landscaped greenery. Modern pathways with green vegetation lining both sides. A massive outdoor LED screen for fan zone viewing. The complex includes two full-size training pitches outside the main bowl, plus a third pitch with an attached athletics running track. Notice that the main bowl itself has no internal running track. Talanta was deliberately designed as a football-first stadium, with athletics and rugby moved to the surrounding fields. That design choice puts the front row of seating directly against the touchline, the way the best football venues in Europe are built, making Talanta the largest and most expensive single-purpose football stadium in East Africa. Solar-powered lighting columns line the exterior pathways. The entire site is powered partially by rooftop solar arrays and an underground rainwater harvesting system that captures storm runoff and feeds it back into pitch irrigation. Let's put Talanta in continental context. At 60,000 seats, it joins an elite tier of African mega venues. The capacity puts it on par with Cameroon's Olembe Stadium and Ivory Coast's Stade Olympique de Bimpe, while easily surpassing Senegal's 50,000-seat Diamniadio. Only a few historic giants, like Johannesburg's Soccer City at 94,000, Borg El Arab at 86,000, Kinshasa's Stade de Martyr at 80,000, and Cairo International at 75,000, just to name a few, sit above it. Financially, Talanta's $345 million price tag makes it one of the most expensive stadium ever built in East Africa. Per seat, Talanta works out to roughly $5,750 per seat, among the most expensive new African builds per seat. For comparison, Soccer City in Johannesburg cost roughly $4,750 per seat when it was upgraded for the 2010 FIFA World Cup. Now, the controversy. The cost did not stay where it started. The original 2024 contract figure was 35 billion Kenyan shillings, roughly $270 million. By February 2026, the Auditor General of Kenya identified an 11 billion shilling cost variance, about $84 million, added through import duties, value-added tax, and railway development levies that weren't in the original contract. The funding side is its own story. Talanta is funded through a 44.79 billion shilling infrastructure-backed bond, Lindsay Finco 003, listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange in July 2025. The bond carries a 15.04% internal rate of return over 15 years. Repayments are structured against the future revenue of the Sports, Arts and Social Development Fund. The bond is repaid over 15 years from a portion of Kenya's national betting tax revenue. Member of Parliament and